I just want to say I am super. It's okay if I cuss? Is that
okay?
All right, cool. So I don't know how
no, it's not that family
we cuss
friendly.
all the time.
All right, well, super freaking impressed by just like everything that you're doing. So what made you go from, hey, we're just going to shoot on our iPhone, that's number one, and then number two, what transitioned you of Factor Cap? By the way, this is this is Ivy, this is Extra for fucking PartyShirt, but like those two questions, boom, I think that's like, we'll start.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, sort of the whole iPhone content, we'd been, doing some like skits and stuff, SNL style, and they sort of just weren't going anywhere. We'd throw them up on Instagram, but Instagram's sort of hard to grow on, and this was pre-pandemic. And then so when the pandemic hit, we sort of used TikTok as a way to promote our music.
Okay.
And so we were just, posting there. And honestly, the reason we used iPhone was because we couldn't be fucked, getting, using a proper camera, then uploading it and editing it and all that for like a short little, few second video. So we just started doing like reaction videos and videos around our music and trying to do those, back in 2020, I don't know if you remember, like every artist was on TikTok being like, the fucking labels are keeping me down. You guys have to go save this to save my career. Like that type of stuff. So, we weren't that in your face about it, but we try and make videos about the music. And then at the end of 2020, we did Fact or Cap. It was called, I think, Cap or No Cap at the time.
Where did that come from?
Yeah, I was down in OC. It was like Christmas time. He was like, yo, I got this great format. I think like come up tomorrow or come back up tomorrow and we'll like test it out. And then we tested it out and it just went boom, like crazy.
And then you're just like doubling down from there.
Yeah, we're doing like 6-7 videos a day, sometimes up to 9. So we were really making hay when the sun was shining. And that just grew us. Like December 15th was the first Fact or Cap. And before then, we already had like a small following of like, 700,000, which like is a lot, but on TikTok,
Right.
Yeah.
And so, between December 15th and I want to say like Ivy's birthday was February 12th. Between that time, we
Happy birthday.
grew from 700,000 to 10 million.
Yeah, that was
so
crazy.
it was in about like 60-ish days.
Yeah,
was this before the creator fund?
No, this was
No,
at the
this was-
start of it pretty much.
Yeah.
So, our best month, I want to say we probably did close to 30K on
Yeah.
it.
We were like, whoa, like that's fucking.
Wait,
weird.
is everything like decreasing now?
Oh, 100%.
so much.
Because everybody, it's like so competitive, right?
Our last check was like $2,000.
Yeah.
Because two things are happening, right? Like
Right.
Fact or Cap was like the hottest thing ever. Like when Emily Mariko was the hottest thing ever. So you have those periods where you have like this explosive growth, right? You're getting hundreds of millions of views a month. And then also, like you said, the creator fund, the way it works is the more people in it, the less you get paid out.
Right.
As TikTok's gotten more popular, right? I think Hank Green was talking about it. He said it went from something like 5 or to 7 cents per 1,000
That's
views,
true.
which is also a joke to start with. But now it's like 2 cents. So, we're like just an uphill battle. That's why it's like we don't even really. I mean, it's nice to have, but like $2,000 split between.
Dude,
like,
it's not even.
We just
not
like
even
put
rent.
that. No, yeah, we're just like, all right, I guess that's going towards rent.
But okay, so one thing is like there's a lot of people doing, Factor Cap. Like for example, Sydney Raz, who's like this 30-year-old person.
yeah.
He also does this.
Yeah, he's mad chill.
How do you make sure that you're like up above? Because everyone right now is copying each other in some sort of way.
Yeah.
Well, I
you're
mean,
like-
I feel like we like kind of since we were like the first to really like go full head first on it, like it kind of solidified us as like the top, I guess, or at least like most reliable because we've just been around the longest.
That's
doing
sort
it,
of it. It is really like that's the advantage of being the first mover on this is that it was successful enough that everyone had sort of known us at least once. So like the people that come after us, like Sydney's doing his own thing, sort of.
Yeah,
right?
he's
But there
that
are
30-year-old thing
there
is
are
cool.
there
Yeah, that was a great
There are
format.
some creators who just have completely ripped it off, like that Cap or Slap dude, and And at the start, obviously, it pissed me off. Like,
Yeah.
because you see these
like, what
people
the
rip
fuck?
off your videos, and then they comment, and they just annoy the fuck out of me. But it was like, it's one of these things, whenever there's like a new rising influencer who sort of looks like a celebrity. No, they could be way hotter than that real celebrity, but it's always you're the Walmart version of Ryan, and
Mr. Beast.
and we
Yeah.
love Walmart, so that's
We
no
do
shame.
love
But that's just
Walmart.
something
Sam
people
Walton.
say,
They do a lot
right?
of stuff.
Sam Walton, How to Build America, but you know, that's the thing of like, okay, well, you're after this celebrity, you know, so, you know, you're just a cheaper copy. And at this point, it's just like, yeah, I think everyone is sort of like Ivy said. It's just sort of like we're always going to be
Just
the
like,
original.
hey, it's a great format, man. I get it. Like
Yeah,
at this
I get
point,
it.
it's like a compliment if someone's copying because
Yeah.
it's like, wow, we really made something so special that it's actually worth trying to like rip off in a way. You know?
You know, so right, like we have the 10 million followers on TikTok, right? Like take you back to sort of February of last year. And then the next, you know, logical transition, at least at the time, was okay, you want to go back to YouTube because that's where everything matters, a million
Yeah.
subscribers on YouTube. Yeah. And more, I think that's less true. But, you know.
What do you mean it's less true, do you think?
Because before everyone's like a million followers on YouTube means the world, right?
Right.
But as soon as they've introduced shorts, that's cheapened a subscriber so much. You can have millions of subscribers because you've had a great shorts channel. You try transition to long form, you got 5,000 wiews.
That's true.
So where, you know, what
and
is
also
the
the
value
money
of a
on shorts is
subscriber?
not that good.
It's a joke. It's
Yeah.
barely better than TikTok. And because they have, you know, you can earn between $100 to $10,000 a month as a bonus, right? A
Right.
bonus.
Yeah.
So it caps you out at 10,000, even though you might get 1 billion views.
Yes, that's
You know.
my friend. He has like 5 billion views.
Yeah.
and he only so far has made like 40K.
Exactly, which is, it's like, you know, 40
Yeah.
grand. I don't want to try cheap, and that's not
Right,
a lot of
yeah.
money, you know.
Right,
That's,
but 6 billion.
That's,
Right.
that's what I'm
views,
saying. Yeah, that's
Right.
insane.
Right.
like I know
what?
some creators who get 100,000 views a video and they get 100 grand on a brand deal. It's insanity,
Yes.
you know. So when you look at it like that, it's nuts. So yeah, YouTube Shorts. So that's the other thing. So then, like, okay, we're trying to do this vlog thing. That's a whole other beast to crack, right? That's like a full-time job and very tough.
Yeah,
so
super tough.
we're like, you know, if it's like, do we want to dive into being like just digital creators, Mr. Beast style, or do we want to be, you know,
The
sort of
DJ, the movie.
Exactly.
But do you have like a team involved right
Yeah,
now?
yeah.
So,
yeah, somewhat.
Yeah, we got
You know,
agents, managers.
exactly.
no,
all-
I mean like editors.
Well, okay,
filmers.
yes. So we have one editor and videographer, and then we have one virtual assistant. As a creator, you think like what you do is so unique, but so much of it can be systematized, and you know.
Do you look at something and go, okay, I know how to make this viral?
It's honestly up to like the people, I guess, whether or not it goes viral. Because it's like when we were first posting the Factor Caps, we were looking, all right, like which ones have like the longest party shirt comment chains, you know?
Right,
And
right.
like you look for those key things, like, and honestly, that's like kind of what.
Yeah, it's
Predict,
hard.
but-
It's hard to predict virality. You
Yeah.
know.
Wait, so everything that you do is just curated by the audience that tags you? By
no,
the
they're
community?
looking for answers for us. Like we're not really like
Wait,
going.
when
through
did
For
when
You
the
page.
hell did that start?
Pretty
Immediately.
yeah.
Because from
Like-
the first, you know, Fact or Cap videos, we were like, because we can only find so many, you know, in the first few videos, we're like, hey, tag us in videos you want us to see. And then that just sort of became a thing. So, like, we got so much growth from people tagging us, right? And then we would be like, the brand recognition of like, if this
Yeah.
is bullshit, tag PartyShirt, you know? So, like, that correlation.
Are you trying to like get out of social media? Like in the long run, you're like,
I
yo,
think
I don't want to
so.
be on TikTok
Because
anymore.
I just don't think there's a world where anyone can get out of social media now.
Right.
Like, I'm not, you know, even traditional celebrities have to lean into it, right?
Right.
You can't be a mysterious musician anymore. Those days are gone.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what happened with Sofago, which was like a big, you know, up-and-coming rapper, right? He signed with Cactus Jack. He was the hottest thing. And he lent too much into that mysterious thing. So there was no... He lost all that momentum, and then Yeet has just completely taken that over and like blown up as an artist, and that's a whole other realm. But the mysterious musician, the mysterious actor, that's going away. And just like what I was thinking about the other day, how all these worlds are merging of influencer, you know, actor, like athlete. All people are going to fight me on this and be like, oh, there's a clear definition between TikToker and not. But like Jack Harlow's now acting. Ariana Grande, you know, she was an
Yeah.
actor first.
Jack
Dua
Harlow's gonna
Lipa
be
is
in that,
acting. And it's just like there's this new world where you have to do everything.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you think it's easier as two people as a partnership than rather just being yourself? Like, how
I
did
think
you?
totally.
How the
Yeah,
fuck did you guys
definitely.
even meet?
Fucking my childhood best friend was his roommate at USC, and we were both doing music. I was in school. He was up there at school at USC. He was like, hey, come up this weekend, like meet X, like see if there's like anything you guys can do together, like whatever. If not, like all good. You guys will be boys no matter what. Like, so it came up, we hit it off, and then, you know, We had kind of been doing it like whatever, for probably like
this
a
was like
couple years.
2016.
Yeah.
2016. So like,
Yeah.
holy shit. Like, so, oh my God, before you even posted TikTok in 2019 or something.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
No,
So
yeah,
this
like
was-
way before that. We were just kind of fucking around, like making some videos, playing some shows, and then we went to we got booked for a show in Chicago, and then we were just like, dude, the whole trip was just magical. We came back, we're like, all right, we're doing this like full time. This is our thing right now. Like, I guess not full time, but like this is our main focus. Like
Right.
once we're out of school, whatever. Like I was like, all right, I'm planning on moving up. Like we'll get a spot together.
And this was like late 2018.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've been looking at like different partnerships. So there's like these guys called Abba and Preach, and of course there's like Colin and Samir, which they're dope.
Yeah, they're great.
With partnerships, I know this might be. How do you determine who gets what? Is it straight in the business like 50-50?
I think it's always got to be 50-50. Like, with the startups and stuff, and it's like rarely I think a partnership can work where it's not 50-50. And if you're not going to do 50-50, it's got to be like 90-10 or something like that, and there's a clear reason. Like if you like try and dice up like small percentages and this and that, like 45-55 or even like
There'll be like animosity.
It's just like, is it? Yeah, totally. So I think everything I've always done with a partner is always 50-50. And I love partnerships. They work for me because
Me too.
It's like, number one, I think someone holding me accountable.
Oh yes.
Because it's like holding yourself accountable can be very hard.
Yeah. And it's like also like the like fact where it's like motivating because it's like you don't want to let your partner down, So it's like it's always something in the back of your head. You're like, okay, like what do we need to do?
X is like,
what
get
are
your
some
shit together,
ideas,
Nick.
No, he's more like,
and we could say that to each other, like we're like, we're brothers actually at this point.
And then on the other side is that, like, the entrepreneur journey of being whatever, a creative musician, anything in these creative pursuits, you are a sort of an entrepreneur, right? You're making your own career. There is so much hard shit that happens, right? Like you get fucked over every other day, and sometimes you've been a drama queen and maybe sometimes not, but like to have someone else to vent with that on, that's not your therapist. No. And it's just like having someone that can like actually understand what you got. Because I can complain to my mum all I want and she's going to be like, on the extreme end of it, right? Like a spectator, like looking in, they don't understand the inner workings, the personal relationships, how touchy fucking everyone is. Yeah. Where you make one slight comment and they fucking lose their head. So it is such a balancing act that I didn't understand before I got in. That's
and then even on the other side where it's like the fun shit too, like the crazy ideas, brainstorming, manifesting, like all that shit with another person's like. Ideal, honestly.
Is the end goal to say, you know what, for like I'm slowly transitioning out of this, and I'm just going to do this one project, so hopefully I can like double down on it.
I don't think there's any one project for us to double down on. I think it's like slowly transitioning out of TikTok, but never fully being out. Right. I mean, and slowly transitioning out means we're still making 2 to 3 videos a day, right?
We're just going like in terms of like I guess levels, like we hit a level with TikTok that has like it's got us great success, hasn't solidified our careers, like we want to go, not only do we want to, we need to go to the next level. And so it's like the hard work's just begun almost, because it's like now we have so much more opportunity to really put like traditional content out or really pursue any like small little project and turn it into something. So that's kind of like the next step I'd say we're at, where it's like, because like everything we did before Factor Cat blew up, it's like you're gonna fail 100 times before something hits. So like we're just like having fun with it, doing a bunch of projects, and like one of them's gonna land and they all file into each other, and so it's really just like, okay, like how are we getting to that next level, which is like obviously not getting out completely, but like taking less of the focus off of TikTok and kind of putting that energy out into like other avenues. So,
and the thing is, with the amount of money, you would be shocked with that we haven't made as much as you think, because you see 20 million followers, right? And then you see the Forbes list and you're like, Josh Richards made 5 million. These guys have surely
I'm thinking you guys probably made like 170 last year.
Okay.
Is that, am I close?
I mean, each?
No.
Together?
As a business.
No, we made more than that, but
Okay.
but I mean, once you take out commissions, taxes, and stuff, we might have walked away with $100K each.
Yeah.
you know, honestly.
What is that one thing, Ivy, that you do every day to make sure that you yourself, your brand, or whatever you want to get closer to is happening? That you're like, oh, I'm doing this every day at least at the minimum, so therefore I can be this.
This sounds totally like messed up, but like honestly, like taking care of myself, because like ever since we got like, you know, some money, like I'm like eating out all the time, like all this, like not drinking enough water. I'm like, okay, like baby steps. Like, all right, if I want to have a good day, I make sure I just drink water all day. Like, and it honestly, like, since I'm drinking water, I'm like, oh, okay, like what else can I be doing? You know, it like feeds into everything else. Like, but it's like so like minor.
I think for me, it would just be making sure we do post factor caps almost every day, because that's sort of like keeping the stove hot. You know, while we work on this cookbook, while we try to get a movie in production, while we try to do TV, these traditional things. You know, they take years, you know.
They do take years.
Right? Like, we
Long
can make a
time.
TikTok in
Yeah.
10 minutes. To get a book published can take, 18 months to 2 years. Like a TV show, same deal. Like a movie, sort of same deal, if not, sort of longer, because there's so many stages to it. And especially, like, one thing I thought how Hollywood worked, right? Because before this, I was just a spectator. I'm the type of guy that would sit on the toilet and read People magazine when I was
Yes.
10 years old, you know? Like, I've lived for this shit, right?
While taking a shit.
Yeah, while taking a shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I just thought it was so, like, almost done for you for these, like, people with followers or celebrities or whatever. I thought, right, you get the 10 million followers and you walk into a room and there's an agent there telling you when to show up. There's a manager there telling you what to say. There's a publicist. And I just thought it was all done for you. You only really have to show up, right?
Yeah.
And a couple times throw in your creative input, You got a ghostwriter, you got everything just done and handled, and you just show up and then the game's pretty much done, right?
Yes.
You got 10 million followers, you won, you're set for life, you know?
It should be good.
I'm like, Addison Rae, what is that kid doing? She's got followers and now it's all done for her. After being in it, like I'm not saying it's harder than a 9 to 5, right? Like it is a luxury. I'm not trying to sit here and complain Emma Chamberlain style, but it's true. It is a lot more difficult than I thought. And like Ivy said, it's ours to lose. Like there's a world where we could still like
Lose everything like
100%.
this.
Yeah. Like, the Bethany Motors of the world and stuff, like they were killing it, and where are they now?
Wait, what's your movie about?
We're working on 2 different movie ideas. One would be a sequel to Dumb and Dumber, where
Okay.
we're like the
Yeah.
kids of one of the,
Jim Carrey.
Jim
or the
Carrey,
other
yeah,
guy.
the other guy
I
who's
forgot
a,
the
who's
other
a very,
guy's name.
who's a very great actor too. So
Yes,
I feel
he
bad
is.
I'm forgetting his name. And then the other one, this one called Out of the Box, where it's like it's a mockumentary, like joke on ourselves of all these TikTokers, right, trying to become traditionally famous, right? The Lil Huddies, the Addison Rays, the Charli
Okay.
D'Amelio's. We're like, we're fed up being just called TikTokers, One of the things that actually, it does piss me off is when people will be like, hey, cap or slap, or hey, fact or no cap, or, those names of the rip-off shows,
Yes.
the people who aren't us,
Yeah.
and they've ripped off our show and named it whatever, and then people, I'm like, dude, please, you can
That's
call
not.
me
That's not what it's
you can
supposed
call
to
me
be.
anything but the cheap copycats of us. And then, but the whole journey of the movie is right. We fire our whole team. We're like, we're sick of this. You guys just want to keep us in the box of TikTokers. And then we go on this journey of like hiring an acting coach and like, her being like 108 and like she's like, if you sleep with me, like I'll get you like. The best role, but unfortunately, like everyone she knows is dead. Like
Is this something that you guys experience in real life?
maybe not. But then, and then like we're like, okay, so the acting thing didn't work out. Let's try and make like a song, and then we go with like a heavy metal like singing coach who like tries to, But then it's going to be like half real where we actually try like shop it to Atlantic Records or something.
Do brands look at you or managers look at y'all and they see that and they're like, okay, this is something that we can do? Or
Not necessarily. I mean, everything like you would be surprised how much we have to like drive an idea, right? They'll be like, okay, now go write a treatment. What the fuck do we know about writing a treatment?
Writers, like, give us like at least something we have to like look up what the hell a treatment is. Like, we're like, like. I mean, like...
And we Google and we have a crack at it. They're like totally wrong. And
we're like, no shit. Like, send it to one person that does treatments and tell them to like give us some notes or edit it or something. Like, give us some sort of walking direction.
It's almost as if you're I don't want to say like third class creators,
It
but even though
sorta
you have,
feels like that a bit.
you
Yeah.
think so?
I mean, again, like I'm just being a bit of a diva, but
No, go ahead, be the
you know,
diva, it's
of
fine.
course, it's just sometimes like, and I just don't know. Like, we're not friends with enough creators that I don't really know other people's. And a lot of those creators are with those bullshit talent X firms where it's like it's a little skill. We're trying to, you know, like with traditional, like reputable. But I think there is a lot of work on us still, and I think that's, you know, again. It's like we're still small potatoes in the grand scheme of things, right?
Because even if you have 20 million, that doesn't mean goddamn shit.
You know, like there's probably 100 creators with 20 million that have never been on my For You page.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, if you look at Jimmy Tatro, only like he has less than a lot of people, but yet because of maybe his like skills or his connections or whatever, he's still able to
100%. So the followers is only one thing, and that's what at a certain point it's like we're at 20 million. If we get to 40 million, how's this going to change our life? You know, and it's marginal at this point. You know, like
there's no difference.
Then the question is like, what matters then? Like, if
exactly what matters is getting to the next level now. You know, so it's like, okay, we got this, like 20 million and 40 million. There's no point going for that number because it's not like it's going to change the views or anything like that. Views are already going down, so it's like, okay, we solidified ourselves in that top tier on TikTok. Like, all right.
That's the crazy.
We don't need to grow anymore, you know. Let's work on something new, you know, while still keeping this going.
Because it might disappear in any moment.
Yeah.
It's hard not to like find validation in the view count though, especially when, and I think that's what a lot of people struggle with early, right? Like I have friends from back home in my small town in Australia. And I just saw one of them the other day. They posted they got 1 million views on a TikTok. Yeah. And I was like, oh boy, you are in for a shock because most people think when they get their first 1 million views on a video, right, they're good, you know,
right.
like it's like, only
I'm going viral.
Yeah, right. Like,
I'm
never gonna have a video that does under 50K now, you know, and it's like your next video could get 200 views because in this new world, it's all dictated by the algorithm.
Yeah.
Do you ever just get overwhelmed and stressed out to figure out what the next move is? Because do you think that in a way, because I'm looking at all your projects, to me it's ADD section in a good way because you have to do everything until something happens. So does that ever get you at all?
I mean, no, because we kind of like map out what we want to do. Like we're the type of guys that kind of just like wake up and like do whatever the fuck we want. Like we'll like say like, hey, let's like start with like everything we're working on has been just like spur of the moment. Like
100%.
Literally just been like, hey man, I think we should make a movie, like call it Out of the Box and like have it be about this. And we're like, yeah, let's do it. Okay.
Like no one except maybe this. We're working on trying to do a radio show podcast, and our manager brought that to us. Everything else has been
100% our ideas. Yeah.
Right.
And yeah, that's another thing that surprised me. I thought everything would be sort of taken to us, and we just sit there, sort of the fat kings in the chair. Yes, no.
It's like
yes,
here's
no, yes, no.
$500,000. Please do this.
But it's not. It's really you do have to drive your own career.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. Like we're like looking what everyone else is doing, but like kind of like putting our own spin on it, where it's like, how can we do like something similar, but like really make it an original, you know, or like
the Redux method.
Exactly. Like, you know, like people our day, like, you know, Addison Rae gets booked for a movie, whatever. We're like, okay, like what would like a mockumentary, like who our age is doing that type of shit?
Exactly.
You know?
We're not trying to be. We're trying to be like. I don't know, like 90s sort of like, you know, comedian. But
and it's like we've always done comedy sketches like for content. Like when we were doing the music, we were like, let's do like sketches and music. Like, and so it's like.
If we were 30% funnier, we would be the Lonely Island.
You know, okay. So that makes sense. And that's where you want to go.
Yeah, sort of that like, you know, parody but real, but... you know, sort of blurring the line between, like, you know, are they taking the piss or are they being serious, you know?
So, in your case, there are a lot of creators. And then maybe this is where sometimes the stress comes out, where they're like, oh my God, all these creators are successful. Mm-hmm. What makes you two... would you consider yourself successful first in a way?
100%.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, not where we want to be, but I think relative.
Right, yeah.
You know?
So, what makes you successful? And then what about... and this is like so mean to say, but what about that struggling creator that, you know, has done things for like 5 years and they see nothing happening?
Totally.
What is the big difference? I mean, I have my own opinion, but I just want to know from y'all who are just like everything you touch is at least some sort of success.
Well, I think for the first 5 years there wasn't much, and
Yeah.
that was so frustrating of seeing like people our age who, you know, again, like just everyone's got an ego, and for a second you're like, I'm more talented than that person, I'm smarter than that person. Why has their career exploded, you know? And mine hasn't, right? Like you'll see, like this guy got picked off the street, and now he's on Euphoria, and now he's got like 1 billion followers.
Fucking Fez, right?
Right, you know, and then it's like I'm sure there's a lot of actors
Yeah.
who have, you know, gone to like the best acting schools, and it's, you know, since they were 10 years old have been going to theatre, and they can't even fucking book an Arby's commercial. You know, so I'm sure for them it's tough, because that is like, how much does luck play into that, you know?
Yeah.
And that's not to say Fez isn't a great actor or whatever he's, you know, it's more just, but it's like right time, right place. You had the right look, you know.
Yeah.
The fact the show was, there was so many factors that
Luck
led
is
to
when
that.
opportunity meets the prepared man.
It is.
Yes, but so what driving factor you think? Like, what made you? What,
I don't know.
Out of
I
your
think
thing,
that's
what is prepared?
personality thing
Yeah, that's
to us.
huge. Yeah.
I think understanding that this is based on algorithms and stuff, and that there is like data that goes into this, right? Like did you watch Mr. Beast on
I love
Rogan?
Mr. Beast. Yeah,
And he was saying like anyone can be a YouTuber. Now I don't know how true that is, but to some degree, right?
Right,
like
yeah.
you know, he's just some kid from North Carolina. Like he's like he doesn't look like what people might think a YouTuber looks like, you know, in the nicest way possible, right?
Right.
Like, but he's, you know, because he just cares about the data. He did 100,000 videos before, and then he figured out that one Kennington. Like, I think you got to understand sort of what people want. You got to, you know, be willing to put in the quantity, you know, because these days it's quantity over quality.
you
a
think
lot.
so? It's well on TikTok. It's definitely
Yeah, just
quantity
'cause
over
it's so
quality.
short.
Yeah, I think on
you know.
TikTok, and I think that's the way a lot of people we're going to see more and more get started. Like, when's the last time someone started on YouTube? That is like in the public consciousness.
I don't know. I'm just thinking about all the other YouTubers, and they're all coming either from Vine or they're coming from TikTok, like Josh
Right.
Richards,
Yeah.
Bryce.
But
Hall.
we'll even give like David Dobrik and say, hey, he didn't start on Vine, he started on YouTube. We'll even give like the Jake Paul and the Logan Pauls and pretend they started on YouTube. You know?
Okay,
That
I'm
was,
trying to think.
like I'm thinking like Emma Chamberlain area.
I remember watching Emma Chamberlain in
You know,
2017.
Mr. Beast, sort of like, you know, Airac probably was the last, you know, significant YouTuber who started on YouTube.
Yeah, the million
Yeah,
subscribers
for
in
an
1
island.
year. Jesus,
Yeah,
he
'cause
borrowed
I'm-
like $17,000 and then
Yeah.
he exploded after that. I don't know. I think
He-
I've never
his
borrowed money, but I'm
videos are
fucking
insane.
scared.
Yeah, I don't know
to
if I do that for a YouTube channel, but I mean, I guess he just wanted it that bad. But it's sort of like this new era because kids, who the fuck wants to try and make a Mr. Beast video? You know, like, how can you even compete?
So there was this article in 2008 called 1,000 True Fans by someone Kelly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's
Right,
like
where
if
they
you
all make
want to
$100 or
right,
whatever.
if you want to make a living. But right now there's this thing called 100 True Fans.
Yeah.
And if you can find like a big like people who are willing to spend a lot of money on you,
Yeah.
you just hone on that regardless if it's 10, 50
Mm-hmm.
or 100. And so I think that's what you're doing right now with kind of your NFT project because you
Right.
have 20 million freaking
Right.
TikToks, but on your Discord you have 6,000, but these 6,000 people
Yeah.
are ready to do whatever to give you,
Totally.
you know,
Exactly.
dollar
No,
signs.
those
No, those
true
are some
fans
true
are
fans,
so
yeah.
cool. And I think, like, when we look at the most famous A-listers, right, in terms of music, you know, the Taylors, the Arianas, they have those stan Twitters.
Right,
And I
yeah.
think those stan Twitters, you need those, you know, even if it's just 5,000, 10,000 core fans, can do so much for an artist more than 1 million casual listeners.
So how do you how have you developed a plan to, or how do you like go, okay, this is how I'm going to make a true fan? Like, do you have like a strategy of some
No,
sort?
we just kind of be real and like show our personality. That's the thing. Like everyone said, like fan that's came up to us, they're like, "Oh my god, like you are exactly how you act in your videos." We're like, "Yeah, like that's just who we are." Like that's like what we wanted to build. We didn't want to like get known for something for being something we weren't. So we were like, "All right, like we like to think we're pretty likable guys, you know, just easy going, do whatever, go with the flow."
Yeah.
So why don't we just kind of just
I think
show
matching
that?
the video
Yeah.
is what matters.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that's what it is. That's maybe what it is. Because, okay, so you see a lot of people, they have millions of views, but maybe they're all over the place where they don't have like a specific niche. So when they look at you, they're like, oh my God, I don't know. Like he's big, but I
Yeah.
don't know how to relate.
Right.
But then with y'all, it's like, okay, I know what you two represent. You are the same. So therefore, like you're real. And so then therefore brands can go, okay, I know how to sell you.
Yeah.
Do you have like a mission statement?
I mean, not really.
Yeah,
It's like
not
our whole
really.
tagline is America's most trusted journalist, you know. So,
Oh, okay,
because
okay.
Vice called us that, so we're milking that for everything
Yeah,
it's
Yeah.
worth.
thank you.
And then, so it's sort of like you know, Mythbusters for the everyman, right? We look just like you. You
Yeah.
could test it just like us. We don't have any special qualifications, but you know, our whole brand's built on being authentic. Like, what do we have to lose about lying about a fact or cap? You know.
Yeah.
So
It was so funny. Someone the other day asked me, they're like, "Oh, do you ever like I forgot how they worded it, but basically like lie about the video?" I'm like, "No, dude. Like,
You've never lied?
no, everything we've done's been real on there. Every video, like, and that was the thing. Like going into these, we were like, let's do all these actually and tell the truth. Like, so it's like it'd be so dumb to like get like, you know, someone finds out like you lied about a video and then you just
It'd
get
be
so much hate,
pointless.
you
It'd be-
know.
And then everybody
like-
thinks you lied about every single thing.
Exactly. They
yeah.
don't know, you know. It's like we're the fucking truth tellers here. It's like we can't like have that on our name, you know.
and
and
that's
so-
why we only work with brands that we actually fuck with. You
yeah,
know,
that
'cause-
too.
So I have this friend, Roman Burness. He's like 1.6 million, 7 million on TikTok
Yeah.
and like 100,000. And he's trying to figure out right now, how do you get brand deals to contact you, or do you reach out? Like, do you have any? For me, I just have
Yeah.
like my
Yeah.
email, and then I just pray to
Yeah.
God, and then somebody
Yeah,
hits me
well,
up.
we're with UTA,
Yeah.
and they've been awesome.
Yeah, they handle
and
that.
they
Oh, okay.
they're sort of like our sales department.
Right.
Even
know.
in the very beginning.
And we signed with them so quickly. It just
Yeah.
all happened so quick. It all happened
Yeah.
within like 45 days.
It
you
was
know?
yeah, it was
Oh
insane.
shit! Okay.
So before that, I mean, we had an email in the bio, but there wasn't a ton of outreach. I want to say maybe a couple. Like, we did like one deal, I think, before for like $5,000 before we signed with UTA.
Okay.
You know, this was
Yeah.
at the very start. But another thing is, there's way less demand for male influencers to do paid promo. Like
Yeah.
significantly less, and also the money is a lot less.
Wait, why the fuck? Okay, so
Guys don't sell.
yes, okay, so what I do for a living, I'm a creative director, and I help brands and influencers sell their products online. And every single time that I make a commercial, one of the biggest things that I hire, if it's an actor,
Yeah.
is a white woman.
Yep.
Usually like with brown hair, because for some odd reason they hit the middle demographic,
That's
and
crazy.
they're so trustworthy.
But yeah, white women, you know, just from the numbers I've seen, are making literally 100-fold what we make per follower. So that's like, I think that would shock people a lot too, is they say 20 million followers and they think whether Charlie D'Amelio has 20 million followers or PartyShirt have 20 million followers, it's the same per brand deal. Not even fucking close.
Not
Not
even
even in the same
close.
fucking
Oh my God.
like we're not even playing the same game.
No,
you
we're
know,
playing
they're playing
T-ball right
major
now.
league,
Yeah,
and
we're playing T-ball.
we're playing catch with our dad in the backyard.
Yeah,
Like,
literally.
you know, so
seriously.
it really is. That's another thing. So it's like we need to think of like traditional because it does pay a lot better.
Yeah.
But also, what's really great about y'all is that you don't you focus on like USA pretty much.
That's the majority of our
Yeah.
audience.
Because I know some people, like creators who, like, have you heard of like Ian Bogg, for example? Or, well, he's like this Asian guy, Markion, for example.
Okay, yeah,
right?
Markion,
Here we go,
yeah, very
Markion. He's like
international, yeah.
Markion has, I think, all over the place around like 10 million, 15 million followers on Facebook
Yeah,
and everything.
yeah.
But his audience
Yeah.
is international. Like you get a lot
Right.
of from India, Malaysia,
Yep.
the Philippines, and the CPM, the money that he gets in for one view, is just abysmal. And so, U.S. audience is definitely where you want to go.
Yeah.
So, are you mostly
yeah,
USA?
yeah, we're mostly USA. Yeah.
I think now we're syndicating our content on Snapchat, and that's what re-inspired us to go after YouTube again.
Okay.
Because Snapchat's paying fantastic.
That's where all
Snapchat's the
the
first
kids are
real
at
money
these
we've
days,
seen.
bro.
Okay, wait. So, I've been thinking about jumping into Snapchat, but you're not using Jelly Smack or anything, right? You're just literally.
we may start working with Jelly Smack for Facebook.
But
but
bro,
not-
they take 50%.
well,
Yeah, but
and
they
they
do
exclusive for
everything
50%.
for you.
Okay,
I
okay.
know.
How's your merch doing, by the way?
Dude, merch is dead. Merch is so hard to sell.
Because-
It's like that phase is over. Like Dobrik and Logan Paul, like they really seized that moment and opportunity. It's dead now.
Maybe it's because it's TikTok, right?
Yeah,
I think that's
true,
part of
too,
it.
yeah.
Like your mom's house, Elliot Show,
Right.
Kelly
Yeah.
Wakasa, they have like launches,
yeah.
and for some reason they do pretty well.
So that's the thing that we've like come to realize too, where it's like our TikTok page, like we almost like don't show, like we don't have the length of the content itself to show a lot of our personality too, where it's like that's the difference between like the YouTube, where like this is when we were like talking about like the merch sales, we're like, oh well, these YouTubers, like these people are like really bought into like not necessarily their content, but them as human beings.
Right,
so
and sort of
like,
Mr. Beast thing is like, you buy my merch to support me doing these challenges, you know? Same with Airac. Like, I'm using all the money from the merch to support these, you know, challenges to make better content. Like, you're a part of the Airac family, and like that cult thing you said. But it's like Addison Rae stopped doing merch.
Yeah.
You know, and if it was making money, I don't think she would have
I don't
stopped.
think she would ever stop.
Olivia Rodrigo, her first merch drop when, you know,
horrible.
just terrible.
That's right, merch, because merch is just a one-off thing.
Yeah, so it's
So
like,
right now, it's like brand deals is the way to go.
Pretty much.
Yeah, for right now, brand deals
I mean, that's
and
how I survived
content
last year,
deals.
yeah.
Yeah. I think this year our biggest money is going to be from Snapchat syndicated by far.
I love this. Okay, so I this is one thing that I love to do when there's like a partnership thing, and I want to transition for a second. Okay, so if there's like a couple or like a husband and wife or whatever, this is a fun little question that I like asking, because I kind of want to like dive not only business but also some personal stuff. What's your time, by the way? You're pretty good right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna start with you. What makes X so interesting to you?
I mean, this kid is like the smartest kid I know. This kid's just been like in the game for a while. You want to talk about like OGs and like social media, like X is like, he knows how the world works, like truly, you know, like he will like go and like do the research, like, and like just from what he knows, like you can tell he's been doing this since he was a kid, you know? So that's like, X knows everything, or at least he knows how to find something out about anything, you know?
Oh, there's that. It's so cool, like that trust that you have with him.
Yeah. No, he gets it, you know? He gets all the analytics, all that type of stuff, you know? Like, I would have, like, when we were making the TikTok videos, like, I would have never thought to come up with, like, you know, such a good format and thought that would have been, like, the driver behind, like, great content, what's going to drive views. But like him being in the game so long, that's why he knew. He's like, hey, I have this great format, like come up, let's test the video, like, and see how it works, you know?
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like a marriage. What about you? What makes him I love this question.
It's
so
more
much,
than a
and
marriage, because the thing is, with a marriage, right, you just sell the assets and then you go on your merry way. Like, you know, this is like, we're locked in for life.
You guys are growing together.
Yeah.
You know?
We're gonna like, we're like Siamese twins at this point, you know?
What makes Nick so interesting? I'm sorry, Ivy so interesting.
I think just on the level of being there's so many things that make him interesting. I think on the level of being a partner, he's never a diva. He's never like, I don't feel like doing this today. He's always down. I could, you know, he could be like dead in bed, sick or anything, got 100 things going on in his life outside of the videos. That's what, but it's like, this brand deal needs to get done. This video needs to get done. We need to work on this song. We need to get this set. He's never ever said, I'm not feeling up for it in fucking 5 years, which is crazy.
Jesus.
You know?
That's
and
just
even at the level
yeah.
we're at, like, he could be a diva. He could be like, I don't feel like it today, right? Like, because everyone in this fucking space is a diva. Like, everyone, right? The managers, everyone's a fucking diva, except
crazy.
Ivy. I'm a diva. Ivy's the only
He's not a
person
diva.
in this like whole thing who isn't.
We vent. That's when we like call each other. We're like, we're being divas right now. When we're just like venting about.
Like, let me call
stuff.
my therapist.
But
For
that's the
Yeah,
thing.
we
It's
gotta
like
afford
we've
one, yeah.
worked. Like I've worked since I was 15. He's like worked since he was 15 practically too. Like doing all the social media stuff and that. So it's like, it's just been instilled. Like even if you don't want to do something, you gotta just fucking do it. You know.
What makes your partnership so good? But what makes a good partnership?
You gotta really look at it at a yin and yang standpoint. You know, you gotta like know that person's strengths and let them own those strengths, and you gotta know your strengths and own your strengths, and you gotta know their weaknesses and build up their weaknesses, and they gotta know your weaknesses and build up yours. You know, it's like you really gotta find, like me and X, we are the best with meetings. Like we were like meeting with all these people, and we would just go in there because it's like, he knows when he needs to talk. I know when I need to talk. We can just read the room always, you know? And that's kind of been like the relationship the whole time. It's like, we really like, we know our strengths. Like we're not like, if I know how to do something better, like I'm going to like take that part, or like just like the small little like day-to-day things where we're like, okay, what can we get done? You know, like interacting with people. Okay. Like It's really just finding the balance between how you two operate in general.
So it's like chemistry,
100%.
And then trusting that this person will do that.
Yeah.
What makes you go, you know what? I want to stick with this, and I'm not going to do off my own thing. Does that ever get inside your head?
Well, let me tell you, first off, this is just a staple. It's way more fun with someone else, like by yourself. It's just, just by the laws of physics, it's not going to be as fun,
Right.
know? And then at the end of the day, it's like, just through like our work ethic and everything, we've realized like, hey, like, nothing's going to be easy, and we've built such a great thing. Like, it'd be so easy to just like ditch that and do your own thing, whatever. But why would you do that? Like, it's like, we love pop culture, and it's like, we built something so cool where it's like, regardless of what it was, say it was like a food truck on the side of the road, like just to have like, say that following and like that, like whatever, like just to have the chance to be able to like go into the next levels, and really like tap into influence and like, like.
And then you basically, I don't know, I'm crossing my fingers, but it's this like, oh, I have a partner right next to me. Are you an extrovert, by the way?
I go in and out,
They say that if you're like an extrovert, it's good to be like in a partnership of some sort, because being yourself, by yourself, doing a YouTube channel or anything can like really drain you out. There's a saying where when there's two people, it's a partnership, but once you get to three people, there is a political drama divide.
That's it.
I couldn't do three, because then, like, okay, let's just say it's me, Ivy, and someone else, right? And I have a fight with someone else. So I go vent to Ivy, and then Ivy's like, you know what? I have some problems with person number 3 too, right? And then we break off and we have these things. But then I do something wrong to piss off Ivy. And it just becomes such a little, clicky.
It's fucked.
Oh, yeah, 3 is such...
3 is a crowd, man.
And it's like, that's why 95% of successful bands break up, right? Because when you got 4 or 5 people, you're not dealing with 2 egos. You're dealing with, however many, right?
Right. Like, where do you allocate your energy, so therefore you, number one, don't burn out, but also number 2, they become a super success.
I mean, the good thing about where we're at now, because it's like, I feel like we are sort of lucky that, hey, we got the 20 million followers, right? So that's helped us get somewhere. There is so much fucking waiting on these traditional projects. You wouldn't
believe,
So that's a good thing, because there's so much waiting. We can be working on the cookbook one day. We submit that. We're going to have to wait a week to hear back. So then we can work on the treatment for the movie, a week to hear back. So then we can, do a demo for our radio show. It's going to take a week. And there's just so much fucking waiting. And that's also like, maybe because we're not a priority, maybe who's to say, right? Like,
I mean, everyone's fighting.
Of course, exactly. They managers have 10 clients, agents have 100 clients. Like, I understand, And like you said, we're not making anyone rich either,
Exactly.
So that's almost a good thing, is that because there's so much waiting, it allows us to work on all these other projects, right? Like, if shit was happening for, like, let's just say the cookbook, right? We did that, and like every day as soon as we get a revision to them, they're on the phone with us. Then it's like, fuck, we wouldn't have.
We would dial that down, like, and spend like 2 weeks just grinding that hard, get it done with,
But because there's so much waiting that we sort of do get to work on stuff simultaneously.
That makes a lot more sense. Okay, because I was always thinking, like, guys, you guys are like touching every single thing, and it's like, fuck, are you guys...
Right, I think we'd go crazy.
Are you like the Flash, superheroes all of a sudden?
It's just a lot of waiting, and then also... So, in the traditional thing, it's like, I can guarantee that we're going to get a TikTok up tonight. I don't know if we can ever sell this movie, right? Because there's so many... We could write the best fucking treatment of all time, attach the best director, the best...
I mean, you got the suits, you have like 500 people that are watching over you to make sure that it can happen, and they're like, do you have a reel and all of these other things?
And it can still fall apart, like hundreds of millions of dollars go into movies every year that never get released. So, you can do everything right and still lose.
Well, I want to break down each project. Is that okay? Yeah. I'm really curious. Why the fuck cooking? Why a cookbook out of all things?
Dude, because, we have Snackery Yak,
Right.
And so we were just like I said before, I was spur of the yo, we should do a cookbook. Come, we're like, yeah, let's do a cookbook. Literally next day, we call our fucking agent. It's like, all right, this is what we're going to do, And we were just like, there's so much wonky shit we tried, and it'd be cool to like have like a sweet novelty cookbook that like, hey, like whether or not you even open the fucking damn thing, like great. It's just going to look cool on your countertop,
Wait, is it a snack book? What type of dishes are you doing?
There's some TikTok ones. There's some ones we've made off the dome. Yeah, it's kind of just a concoction of
Because
everything.
that's so fucking random.
Oh yeah, there's some crazy shit in there.
That works. Okay, so then we go to the next project. Why NFTs? Especially because of the controversy of so much shit of like influencers
Rugging
kind of
and all
fucking
that.
people over.
No, and that's like we'd have been approached for like probably since, because my dad's business partner was in the NFT space for like artists and stuff, like beginning of summer, and he asked us, and I was like, no, like everything, like we've been in the space, whatever, but we were like, there's no way like we could do this without it being scammy, like all this stuff. And like another person hits us up to do it. We're like, no. Then November comes around. Our buddy's like, hey, like I'm doing this. You guys want to do a project? We're like, dude, I don't know. Like whatever. He goes, he launches. He's one of the guys who launched In Betweeners, Gian Piero.
Okay.
Drew House.
Yes.
So he came back, and then he was like, hey, like, we should sit down, like, let's, chat about this project. And like me and X at the time had like started a bunch of these projects, like just like we were just being manic, like the end of last year,
like the cookbooks and movies.
Like all that stuff. And so like once he came back, we were like, you know what, dude, I actually think we could like tie in some pretty dope utility like with this, and like actually do something that kind of no one really in the space, or at least like a person with a following has done before, And so we were like, okay, like, and then it just made sense. So we were like, hell yeah, like we can actually build something that can literally stay with us for the rest of our careers and whatever the hell we do.
And what is the utility out of the NFT project that you're doing?
There's tons. I mean, obviously we're going to have all the cliche ones, like in real life events, whatever, like we DJ, so it's like you come to our shows, whatever, we want people to be a part of the cookbook, like submit recipes for that, the movie, maybe you're a background actor, maybe you have some, decision making in what we do, we want to make a podcast, all that stuff, maybe some of the royalties go back into the holders and like allows them to create projects, like almost like true. It's like an umbrella, because it's like we were like, hey, let's build a community that like wants to like help people grow. Like it took us 5 years to like blow up. Why can't we like show people shortcuts like to help them succeed faster? And like one of the kids in our Brian, or the kid who got the tattoo, I think his name is Brian. He like is starting a business. He got a CEO from the from the Discord. Like he got another like business partner from the Discord. I'm like, Jesus. Wow, that's actually like what we said we wanted this kind of to be like, and that's so cool. Like you guys just took it upon yourself to like find resources and like actually make it work with yourself. It's like, say you're a music guy and you want to get your shit out on like social media. Like why can't, like we want that social media expert to show you how to do that, and say he wants to get into music. Like you show him how to do that. It's like, just like building the pieces that you don't have.
How do you make sure that you're not exploiting your community? Like, how do you make sure that they're always trusting you?
I mean,
like,
I think, just being straight up about, who we are, what we're giving people, never really overpromise, always try to over-deliver. And I think, again, like at the start, we're like, let's just be who we are so we don't have to put on like a facade, Because like now you got Doe, and again I hate to keep using this example, but like with everything now going on with the under the influence stuff, he talks about it, he's like, my whole job is to make it look like I'm always having fun.
Yes.
And then on the views thing, he's like, I want to blow my brains out, but my whole thing is I got to make it look like I'm having fun, right?
Right.
To some degree, obviously, we have to like exaggerate some things in videos and stuff. Like, some days you just like, you've had 8 coffees, it's 9 p.m, you're tired as fuck, and you just got to bang out a video. And sometimes you got to put it on. But for the most part, 98% of it is just us being us, right? Like the silly banter in between.
Right.
Because
it's like, we really know how to like say we're feeling like shit. We really know how to like say we need to bust out videos, to like put all that shit away just for 20 minutes and really just be us for the video, like... Well, so it's like, even if we're like being like, I guess like sad, different than our current mood that we're in, we're still being real, you know, like, and true to us.
That's something that I've been thinking about, but it's okay. So again, this is like a privilege thing. I think that a lot of like white women are the big speakers of like mental health or sadness, not sadness, but they're allowed to be almost like vulnerable and still get the views. So is it the whole thing where I have to stay happy, or I mean, I know that you said you have moods, but how do you make sure that you're still being vulnerable without hurting your views?
Well, I don't think our content's really like there is room for vulnerability.
Yeah, that's true.
Another thing is, I don't even think it's just like, white women get to do that. I think there was a time on YouTube where it was like, okay, you showed emotions. That was revolutionary. That was authentic. That was revolutionary. Now, if I see it, white women tears, or you're just trying to exploit it for views. Why do you have to record it when you were crying? Why do you have to, now it's like, I feel like we're actually regressing from, hey, it's good to show vulnerability, this and that. Because like, you'll see some people like, oh, I'm so happy you opened up. But then the rest of it's like you're just trying to exploit the viewers, and it's like it's hard because there is that parasocial relationship. So are they trying to exploit the viewers, right?
Yes.
Like David Dobrik's common example.
It's fine. It's totally fine.
Yeah, it's just, it's like when he says, "I want to blow my brains out." Obviously, that's going to make the viewers feel some kind of way about then attacking him about the sexual assault stuff or the Jeff stuff, right? Because when you got someone who's suicidal and then you pack onto the hate, you don't want to, So it's like.
It's like, why do you have to record your emotions, but you also want to record your emotions?
Yeah, totally.
So therefore, they can understand that you're a real person.
Right. So I think
there's
do
you balance that out?
It's weird.
I don't know. But that's another thing. Our content...
allows you to have that anonymity and also that like mysterious version out of it.
Well, that exactly. We're not showing our whole life. We're not like, this is what we ate for lunch,
right.
And like, I mean, maybe if it's a weird thing we ate, right? Like bizarre food style, but we're not like, this is this great burger I just ate at fucking McDonald's, Are
you trying to get out of the vlog scene then?
We never really were in it. I mean,
that vlog is hard as hell to do.
That's the thing. It's like, I dream, and again, that era's gone, but like of, back on the TV actors, right?
Yeah.
You film Friends for 4 months, you're off for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
You do a couple pressing.
Right? Fun, yeah.
Where it's like, because the thing is, we could, of course, take a day off, right? No one's got a gun in our mouth saying you got to do something.
Not yet.
But the pressure, not yet, but the pressure on ourselves, and everyone, like, this isn't just, influencers have it easy. I want to keep stating that it's like,
yeah, we do.
We have it way fucking
easier.
We
have freedom.
Totally. Yes. I wouldn't fucking trade this for a $400,000 a year 9-to-5 job.
We're surrounded by people that are like pretty smart, and we're always talking about the same thing, which is like really fun.
It's all fun. It's all, you get to do something new, Phineas and Ferb style.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you're an entrepreneur. It is on you to keep, building your career, especially when you don't have managers texting you every hour. Hey, I got this new thing for you. I got this. Like a lot, we could, if we didn't text our agents or managers, we could go days without hearing from them.
Yes.
Maybe there'd be like a wellness check, like everything okay, but like that's about it,
Yeah.
And so it really is like, so it's like, if we don't post for a week, it might not kill the channel, but just that feeling of ourselves, like, what the fuck are we doing,
Yeah.
Purpose. They say that like one of the best things in life is like work equals purpose sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's why like automation is like making people more depressed because like, what's my purpose? Because I'm not working. But you're absolutely right about, first off, there's like two sections that I want to talk about. The first one is you're absolutely right about being a creator, how lucky we are.
Yeah.
I was just in San Francisco and I was with my friend, and she makes a lot of money, and she's like very like she's able to use that to do whatever she wants to do, which is really good. But then she was having a meeting with one of her coworkers, and the coworker is like 40-something years old, which isn't bad.
Yeah.
And he begins talking about how he wished he could take a step back and just become like a photographer.
Yeah.
And it becomes like this typical thing where it's like, oh, my passion isn't this work that I'm doing. I don't want to be in sales even though I'm making all this money.
Right.
However, one of the things, and maybe again this is like a little elitist, I get upset because yes, you're making a lot of money. Yes, you are saying that you would rather do something else, but a lot of people, they don't.
Yeah.
They don't just quit, and they just don't do. And I think it's because of two things. One, they're afraid.
Yeah.
Because they want to be successful right away.
Totally.
And two, it's like lack of security. But so what makes you two go, you know what? F it. I'm just going to do it.
Well, I think we were very lucky that, like, I was still working a regular job. Ivy had sort of, like, was about to return back to work because he had been laid off, and then only, like, the whole pandemic thing, right? And I was working, like, I had, like, owned half of an ad agency that was very flexible. So we were still doing all that while making content, while making music, because, we don't have our parents, like, sending rent money, So it was like we were forced to build this on the side until it sustained us,
Yeah.
So I think it's very hard to be like, hey, I have this passion. I have built nothing there, but I know I love photography, so I'm just going to go quit. Because number one, it's like being good at something and building a business around it are two totally different things.
Yeah. Oh
and on top of that, it's like once you bring money into something, you're probably going to lose a lot of love for it. Like you talk to some of the best football players in the world, they'll be like, this was my fucking favorite thing. But the second I got signed for $20 million, I began to hate it. Because
this is like the underlying pressure. Like when I was working as a creative director and I would get a lot, like money, I would be so depressed because I didn't care what I was doing.
Yeah. Right.
And so that money would just disappear because I'm just like I'm spending it on food or like gambling or something to feed that drive that you really wanted. And now that I'm doing this, granted the money isn't as big as being a creative director or security, I just feel a little bit happier. But what were you doing? So you got laid off, but were you doing anything on the side as you were building this?
Yeah, I was doing valet at Hotel Bel Air, which was so much fun. Dude, every day I go into work, X will tell you I'd come home. Dude, you're never going to believe whose car I drove today.
Yeah.
It was like, bro, it was like every single day. I'm like, how could I possibly drive a cooler person's car than the last person? Going to work, bam. Not only did I make $300 for the day, I got to drive JayZs car. Like
you drove JayZs car.
I loaded.
Tell me the story. What happened?
Okay. So like this lady's walking out of the. This is a different story, but this one was even more wild. A lady's walking out with these two kids, and I'm like, I take these two kids, like, and like load them into their car seats, whatever. And then like my doorman comes up to me, he's like, you know whose kids those are? I'm like, no. He's like, Jay-Z and Beyonce. So I'm like, what the hell? No way. Like, all this crazy shit. Like, J. Cole, like, the boy, like, such a great guy. So cool. Todd Gurley. Like, you name a famous person, I've probably driven their car. Like, Jamie Lee Curtis. Like, Anthony Watkins.
Oh, my God. It's so fun.
Tom Hanks. Like, everybody. Like,
Tom Hanks is good? He's a good guy?
Really good guy, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay. That's what I hear, but I just...
You know who wasn't?
Who?
Bummed me out. Was, what's his name, Max?
Jason Bateman.
Jason Bateman wasn't nice? What happened? What did he do to you?
Dude, he like... was one of my favorites. He still is. Like, I love him, but... He comes up. I open the door for him. Whatever. He's with Jennifer Aniston, I think his wife. And I'm just like, oh, I'll keep it up. I'll keep it close for you. That's all I said to him. He just looked at me. He's like, okay. Like, literally just like, so, like, I was just a piece of shit scum of the earth. Like,
oh, my God. It's like the vibe of, like...
The vibe was no. Like, he knew he was better than me, and he wanted to, like, almost make me feel like he was better than me. Like,
oh, my God.
And so we, like, just hung out with Andy, though. Andy Milanakis, and he was like, yeah, that guy is... Like, people say that, like, sometimes. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
God,
it's a bummer because he's so good looking, so creative.
He's got nice hair.
Right, and he's been... Talk about someone who's been in the business forever, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he was on, like, Little House on the Prairie, and now he's, like, 50 on Ozark, which is an amazing show. Yeah. But I was bummed to hear that because it's, like... He seems like a regular cool guy, you know?
He seems like a regular cool guy, yeah.
But then he's not.
I know.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
I'm like, maybe I caught him on a bad day. I'm hoping, but then
Andy sort of confirms.
I know,
yeah.
I mean, there's some influence. There's a lot of influencers that are like that, too. I think when sometimes they get to, like, a top-notch level, they're just fucking...
They're operating on a different system.
Yeah, maybe so. I want to talk about fans. Thank you so much for your time. I want to talk about, like, fans for a second. What's the coolest fan scenario that you've been in? And then what is a fan scenario where like, oh my God, I don't want to be here right now?
So, I mean, this is just sort of like a funny one, right? And so this girl is now like one of my best friends, right? But so we used to, in college, we had hooked up a couple times. Then I hadn't seen her for a couple years, right? She went to New York for grad school, like comes back to LA. And so she texts me, she's like, hey, you want to catch up? I was like, you know, for sure, let's get lunch or whatever, right? And because we didn't end on good terms, you know, because anyway. whatever. So we grab lunch, and this like never. I think to this day this has never happened. Right? We get lunch. Like this group of people come up, like they stop us, like while we're eating, like, oh, can we please take a? Like no one ever does that while I'm eating, you know, like. You know, which I think is super rude, but I think this was great at the time, right? Like, I'm like, of course, you know. Then we walk down the street, like another 7 people come up. Like, I go into a store, like a mum's like, can you please take a photo with my kid on? And this, like, you know, like we'll get 1 or 2, maybe 3 people come up to us a day, but this was like, you know, you would have thought, who is this? So that was, I think, and, you know, like this person was just like, what the actual, because they don't really use social media. So I think to them, they were just so shocked.
And you're like, boom.
Yeah.
We have not imagined, but look at now.
I was like, God is looking over me right now. He's hooking it up. But.
What about you? Like, what's a crazy, either a fan that you're like, whoa, please, or a cool, like the coolest experience of a fan that you've experienced, Ivy? This is so much fun. I love fan stories.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like maybe a bad one.
Maybe they're just all good.
We got some good fans. I will say that.
The friggin' Mizzou was crazy.
Oh my god.
What happened to Mizzou?
Dude, holy shit.
Okay.
We had no idea what we were like. Mizzou flies us out, or Beatbox flies us out to Mizzou to like DJ, like the like college thing. And like we have no idea what we're walking into. Like we touched down in where is it? Missouri.
Yeah.
Columbus, Missouri.
Yeah.
And yeah, like we go. We're like, we meet up with like our rep from Beatbox, you know, he's taking us to our hotel, whatever. He's like, all right, so we're going to start here. We're going to start at this bar. Then we're probably going to go to this bar, then this bar. And then we'll go to the venue, you know. And so we meet at the first bar and like he told us they were going to be like filming, you know.
Yeah.
But like, they had a full, like, you would have thought this was like reality TV, like the cameras they had, like guys, like just giant cameras, like, and like we walk into this bar and like there's like fucking 3 massive like cameras behind us. Everyone's just like, what the fuck? Like, who the hell are these guys? Everyone knew who we were. I swear to God, it felt like we were fucking Brad Pitt. Like, it was crazy. Like, everyone in the bar, like the bar shut down.
Right.
Like everyone got quiet, looks at us. Then everyone just starts getting out of their seats to like come like talk to us, all this shit.
And it was like, ah!
It was insane.
It was old time.
It was wild.
Yeah.
Like, we know what it feels like to be Brad Pitt. Like, it was wild.
Is this anything that you've ever imagined when you were like starting out? Is this something that you wanted, or it was just like it just
happened. I mean, like, it's obvious. It would definitely, like, we had talked, like, oh, it'd be so cool, like, whatever. But then, like, just not knowing, like, what we were walking into, and then we were just like, holy shit,
It's
this is so cool.
It's so crazy. You don't even, like, those views, sometimes it's just like, whatever. And then you put that to a person, it changes the game.
Yeah.
Like, I could see 20 million views on a video and be like, oh, that's cool. If 20 people came up to me at once, that's like overwhelming, you know?
Yes.
It's just so crazy how, because on TikTok, like you said, right, we're used to these numbers now.
Yeah.
Like before on YouTube, at the start of YouTube, a video had 1 million views. Everyone in the world must have seen that, you know? Now it's like a video could have 20 million fucking views, and it's only a niche of people who love true crime podcasts.
yeah.
You know, like, it's just so crazy how it's like how big the internet's gotten that, like, 1 million views ain't shit anymore. So I think,
That's true.
like, you know, having real, like another, exactly. And so another time we went to like a Juice World drop, like they did like a 999 drop anniversary.
Wait. Explain the story. What happened?
So this was like Cookies and Kicks, which is a clothing store on Melrose. They did an exclusive Juice World drop.
Yeah.
So they had his old manager there, and they did some licensing thing where it was actually really sick merch.
Super, yeah. It's like they turned it into like a clothing brand.
Yeah, so this was
cool.
like,
I
and
love
his
the
whole
stuff about it.
999 thing. So this was like 8 months ago.
Yeah.
And
We're driving the bus.
Right? We get there, and it's like, that was another time where I'm like, I don't think, you know, so many fucking people came up for photos. Like, we're driving the bus, and we had to keep stopping because they're like, please let me like
kids are coming around the bus. Like, we almost like can't drive the bus because people are just swarming.
Like, we must have taken 40 photos.
Oh, in a matter of like,
and I'm
5
like,
minutes.
okay, so we have the same fans as Juice WRLD, Kid Laroi, because they're also a bunch of, you know,
Yeah.
Kid Laroi fans. So yeah, it's weird because but then it'll go like 2 weeks and no one says anything,
anything.
and then it'll be one day and 40 people come up. So
Yeah.
it's like, and it's another like I was getting pizza right after our show Saturday, and and then this guy's like, oh hey, you Factor Cup? I'm like, yeah. He's like, can I take a photo? And then like 4 other people were like, I wanted to ask too. So it's like one person
All
to
it
break
takes
that
is
seal,
one person, yeah.
and then everyone feels like comfortable,
It's kind of cool because I want to. We're like, don't worry, we're almost done.
Yeah.
I want to talk about like 2 things as well. But I think sometimes the fame. Okay, I don't want to say fame.
Yeah.
Influence.
Yeah.
Right. Influence is based on your work. Like I would rather have influence than fame. Right.
Yep.
I think that's sometimes like more important than money.
Yeah.
Do you think that could be true? Like,
I think so.
yeah,
And I think
yeah.
it depends on the type of influence, how fleeting it is, this and that, right? Like, is it like an Oprah type thing where it's like people are going to buy whatever book you say, or is it like, I mean, it depends.
because influence can, like if you go to a private party or you go in something,
Right.
it's like this. You go to a restaurant.
Yep.
And you see the same server over and over and
Yep.
over again. And then pretty soon you walk in, some other person will come in, they'll talk nice about you, or they'll give you like a free dessert
Yeah.
or something like that. And money oftentimes, they don't care about you as more
Totally.
as the relationship via influence.
And then I was just like, and like a lot of rich people try buy that influence and would trade half their money for an ounce of fame,
It's nuts how I was thinking about this because I know some. Well, like I said, the my friend who makes $200,000 a year, and she wants to be like famous, and no matter like you can spend as much money as you want on ads and whatever, but if your content isn't good, then you're not going to be like influential, and money can't buy you great content. Do you agree with that? Do you think?
Totally.
yeah.
There's a lot of rich kids who will never be famous,
Yeah, there'll never be rich kids that'll be famous.
But and it's like, and that's another thing I was thinking, like, about the whole fame or money question, right?
Yeah.
Is like, okay, what does money buy you? I guess it depends how you use it, right? And then there's some people who spend it more frivolously, but like $100,000 for the DJ for the booth behind the DJ. I would rather be the DJ.
Yeah.
you know,
Exactly. Yeah.
and shit like that. Like we have enough friends where it's like we can like sort of like get a free table anywhere. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's like, what do we need the money for? That's why it's like.
And to me, it's like it's just cooler. I don't know how to explain it. It just feels cooler.
Because you didn't have to pay for it, It's like, because that's another thing. Like, even though we made like around $100,000 each last year, which is fantastic. Don't get me wrong, but it's like there's a lot of people who make a lot more than that, but who probably don't can't sort of live like the life we do, just because so much of it's just sort of given to free because people just sort of want us around. I guess it's hard
because the influence
I don't know how to
is-
humbly
no,
say it.
I
Like-
totally understand that. I mean, as someone that was a creative director and like filming behind the scenes, and I would see these creators like excel and all these fans show up. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna be vulnerable with you.
Yeah.
I was like, I still am. I'm an insecure, egotistical, narcissistic individual.
You have to be a creator,
Right, who
Yeah.
wants to be seen in front of the camera. And it's
Yeah.
like, love me like
Totally.
me. I'm talented enough, right?
Yeah.
Do you, I'm not saying do you get jealous, but like before, where you're like, I need to be, like, people got to know this face, Ivy's face.
I mean, no, I don't know.
Do you have a level of, like, narcissism, do you think, a little bit, or?
Yes, I feel like everyone does.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, honestly. Like, the thing is, like, the fame's cool and all.
Yes.
Like, but like, I've also like, I went to school for music production too, so it's like I know both sides between like, being that mysterious artist versus like that. So it's like,
I mean, some people just don't want to be seen as well.
yeah,
But you have something that you like. So with fame and everything that's happening, your parents,
yeah.
I don't know if they're together or not. I don't want to assume.
Together,
What do they think about you now? Like when you first started out, what were they thinking about? Like, because what is your ethnicity?
Greek and Italian.
So like there's like a cultural thing, especially when
Very
it comes to Greek.
strong, like, well, so yeah, I mean, no one in my family's graduated from college, at least like in my immediate, like mom and dad. And so, they wanted me to be the first. I got a lacrosse scholarship to go play ball somewhere and then dropped out after one semester. to come back home and pursue music. So they had always been like, you want to be a DJ? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, what? Like, I'm going to support you, but what the fuck? Like, okay. Like, and so then, like, moved up to LA and then, you know, was doing everything, whatever. And then, like, once TikTok started happening, they were just like, wow, like, okay. Like, I feel like they really, I don't know. They, like, understand it without understanding it, but they know it's like,
It's doing well.
it's doing well.
It's
Yeah.
that supportive thing. I think a lot of creators, I think if you have a supportive like family or friend group, you're more likely to succeed because that affirmation is like a push. I'm not saying like as an Asian, I'm just lucky that my mother is patient, knowing that like what I'm pursuing is okay. And I know some Asians that want to be creator, but their parents would say, I will disown you.
Yeah.
And so that is kind of like a driving factor for them not to go out and try. So I love that.
Definitely.
What about like your parents together? I don't want to.
Yeah, parents are together, and they've all.
When you first started, like
I've been lucky that they've always sort of supported me. Like they let me move to America when I was like 8. Like even though I was 18, like if they were really like, hey, we don't want you to move, I probably wouldn't have moved, you know, because I got a close relationship with them. So they've also always been supportive of me. I was pursuing more startup businessy stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think for a while they were just like, you know, with the whole DJ thing, like, okay, that's never really gonna, you know, let's, you know, we got to support it because like if we don't, it's just gonna hurt the you know. They were always supportive, but I don't think they ever thought it was gonna work out like it did. Right? I thought they're just like that's gonna be a side thing. He's got his business thing.
Yeah. That's right. You were at the business group. That's how I met you.
Yeah, exactly, at SC. So they just thought like, you know, and that was one thing for me. Like my whole identity was rooted in business. So when I was trying to be an influencer thing, I'm like, well, if this doesn't, you know, let's just say you're a failed influencer and you try to be a startup CEO, you look ridiculous, you know? I mean, maybe less so these days. And that's another thing, like before, when you talk about like the fame, right, you're the creative director and you're like, I want people to appreciate me.
Yeah.
So
goddamn it.
before, you know, we were doing this, I had all these big Instagram pages, right? And one of them was Earth Pics. You know, I created Earth
Oh
Pics.
yeah, that's right. I remember this. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
that was so long ago.
So long ago. So I moved out here with this kid called Cole Cameron and Pedro Camaro. And so we're just living in Playa or whatever, you know. And Pedro was like doing skit content and stuff like that. And Cole was doing Earth Pics with me. And, you know, so you go to these LA parties, right? And, you know, you got 10 million followers when like 10 million followers on Instagram was like a fuck ton. You know?
It's in a ton.
But it's like you got to be like, I'm the Earth Pics guy, you know?
Yeah.
To try get respect, you got to try and figure out how you're going to slide it into this conversation without, you know, and it's like
this is what I do, even though you don't know who
right?
I am.
So it's like, I totally get you on that whole ego thing, wanting to be recognized in that. And let me tell you, it's a million times better being actual creator where people know you for, you know, your content.
Let me tell you, if I experienced that, you know, like then 100% I'd understand, you know.
Yeah.
But it was just like I kind of just got thrown into it with the wolves, you know. Like hadn't had any like experience with like a viral account before, you know.
You don't have to prove yourself when you walk into a room. It's like, hey, this was my major, and this is how much money I made. It's like, oh shit, I've seen you before. Come on in.
Yeah.
Come on in.
And then another thing was like when we were in high school, right, it was like cringy to be an influencer, you know, like I'm sure even after us, like, you know, that first generation of Musical.ly kids, right, the Josh Riches, the Bright, like they were all homeschooled because I'm sure they got the fucking shit bullied out of them in school, right? But so what I wonder now is like how clout sort of has changed. Like I feel like now being 16 in high school with 1 million followers, and I could be wrong, right? Because I'm not, you know, high school's relentless. It could be cool as fuck. Like, you could be the most popular kid. While before, I feel like you would have been the weirdo if you had followers on, like... So I just wonder, what are the high school dynamics...
I want to know, too.
...of, like, are you, like, the coolest kid in school if you have a following? Or are you still, like, that's that fucking internet weirdo? Because now everyone's trying to be an influencer to some degree, right? They'll put in their bio, this is just a joke, yet they'll post 7 times a day trying to blow up.
Well, that's how they kind of...
They
stay humble so that if their content isn't doing well,
this is a joke, it's just for fun, you know.
It's like being on Tinder. It's like, oh, I'm just here for fun, but I'm I'm going to explode.
I'm just here for networking.
I mean, you know what I mean? Not explode inside of them, but you know, I mean, you still kind of, but you know what I mean.
No, exactly.
Yeah. That makes. Oh my God, that's like so much fun. You know what I'm realizing right now, which is, we good? Almost okay. What's really cool is right now for the next couple of weeks, I'm working with this creator called Karen X Chang, and she's working on the metaverse, virtual reality. And I think I want to get your take on this because I talked to more creators about this with the metaverse. Right, I think it's really bad for consumers because it just sucks out the consumer, and the consumers are just like spending on everything. Yeah. But I think as a creator, it is so profitable for us. Yeah. So, are you thinking like down the line about what you want to do with metaverse at all, or is that just something like on the back burner for a second? You're like, you know what, we'll deal with it when we deal with it.
I mean, we're like the NFT thing, superstars. Right. We're obviously thinking, you know, how will this play into the metaverse? Because it's like it's probably going to be metaverses, you know. So it also depends on which platform's the winner and how do we integrate them and can they go cross-platform. So I think that we haven't really thought that far ahead because there's so many. Yeah, like you know,
it's
macro.
like we focus on the Web3 right now. You know, like all of, like the immediate stuff for like the NFT project. Yeah, because it's like all the metaverse stuff still has to develop so much more too to even like make those decisions at the end of the day.
That is true.
Like the Oculus. You wear it for the first hour. You're like, this is the best thing since sliced bread. Holy fuck, how's this real? After that hour, you never touch it again.
Yeah, but you want to touch somebody.
Yeah, exactly. There's no drugs, sex, or rock and roll. So why am I going to the metaverse?
Yeah, but even if there is, okay. So I'll tell you the project, which is really cool. Yeah. So basically, we're building a 180-degree virtual reality room. So you put this on, and you're just seeing the front. Yeah. And then what we do is we have 10 dancers that are in front of the person. Yeah. And they're finger tutting, like as if they're in
like a rave.
Yeah. So they're going and they're finger tutting. And then if that does really well, then what we want to do is we want to like build
Is there any sensory thing? Or?
No, so that's the thing that we were thinking about. It's like, how do you create that sensor? And there's none of that right now.
Yeah. Do you think people are going to take Molly and then put these masks on? And
they should take Molly and put it on. But like as we're building it right now, granted, like Facebook is paying Karen a lot, and the consumers hopefully will like that. But then we're thinking, and we're sitting down. It's like, how does this create a long-lasting effect? Yeah. Because what's great, okay, so I might be wrong, but I think what's great about social media right now, I mean, granted, I think sometimes there's a negative to it.
Totally.
But there is this realism at the moment where they go, okay, I see Factor Cap, I see your faces on Instagram, I can have a relationship with you, and there's a possibility where I can actually like touch you later on in life. Yeah. There's that need. It's like when you see a beautiful girl on Instagram, it's like, oh, I'm gonna like it, and there might be a possibility where I might be able to actually touch this person. Yeah. But then you put on the Oculus, and you experience that. But then is there ever just like a craving to see the creator in real life, to experience life in real life? And then
that's the thing too. Yeah.
And then if you don't, then I don't know. Maybe I'm just overthinking.
Maybe it's like a sandbox thing where you have like, you know, sensors all over your body and like, you know, you can sort of feel shit, you know, like, and then there's a meet and greet that way. I think we're a while away from that, but I could be wrong, right? Like, you know, the internet became popular, like 20 years ago, 25 years ago, and look where we're at already. So I could be wrong, but
I just hope they can like somehow develop, because when you okay, so there's like two sections, right? Because your mind can imagine real life people when you're watching virtually. And when you're watching something and you're releasing something just via like the screen, your brain thinks it's real, but the only thing that you're projecting out of you is dopamine.
Right.
It is the physical touch of intimacy that develops oxytocin. And oxytocin, you know, creates actual like longing and happiness. And so even if you have sensors, I'm wondering if you can build that oxytocin. I think
we're going to need Neuralink, you know. It's going to have to be tapped right in, so all the fucking, you know, dopamine, oxytocin, all that, they have control on that.
That is true. I mean, what's really great about y'all is the fact that you'll do live shows.
Yeah.
And so then through the live shows, people will not only see you, but then you experience that.
Totally.
And so what is the big difference when you're doing this like live show that you're like, oh my God, actually... this is, I mean, I don't know, I could be wrong, but you're like, this is kind of better than a screen. Does that ever come to your mind? Or
dude, yeah,
what is that feeling that...
I don't know. It's crazy, though. Like, there's like, once you get that first drop, like, that the crowd just starts going bananas, you're like... There's just, it's so cool, like, actually seeing 100 or, like, 1,000 real people just, like... so invested in you, you know, and having a great time, like on the same level as you.
And you
know?
control their emotions in that moment, you know?
You control their what do you mean by that?
By like the music you play, you're sort of like, you know, how they're dancing, how they're grooving, like, and there's so many times we're in the crowd more than we're on the stage, right?
Right.
And then it's just like so many times you just be like, that was the best set ever. I had the best fucking time, and just walk away, you know. And then to be able to give that same experience to people, I think is like really cool.
Yeah.
There's I was talking when I worked with the Chainsmokers only for like one video. They basically said that there was a moment while they were, you know, doing a set that they just felt like, not that they made it, but they could not believe that this was real, and it affected them on like a visceral, emotional level.
Yeah.
When was that moment? When you were doing something for PartyShirt, either a DJ or a set or just making content, that you were like, oh my God, this is hitting me. This is real. I am here.
I'd say the first time we went on Access Hollywood, I was like, holy shit. Like, because that was like kind of like the first thing that like transitioned to like traditional media, you know? And so like we're like on set of a TV show. Like, and I was just like, I was nervous as fuck, but I was like, holy shit, like, we got here. Like, this is so cool.
Wait, when did you get on Axe? What happened there?
Oh, dude, like, us and Mario are boys. We've gone on, like, probably close to 10 times now. Like,
yeah, we've gone on there a lot.
Like, but yeah, they just love us every time we go on.
They just reached
it's, like,
out
the
to
most
our
viewed,
agents.
like, episodes of, like, the, like, whatever, since
And
the last time we were on.
The funny thing about that, just to touch on traditional for a second, was like, I don't know their ratings, right? But I assume maybe 200,000 people an episode. That could honestly be on the higher end. Like, the show's on every, you know, TV's dying, like all these different things. So let's just say on the high end, 200,000 people. It's probably less.
Yes.
Okay, one of our TikTok videos regularly gets 1 million, right?
Right.
So many more fucking people came up to me being like, holy shit, you boys were on TV. Like, our friends, you know, that were shocked and impressed by that. More than that, we got 10 million followers on TikTok. And that just still shows
the stigma and credibility behind traditional media, you know?
That is true. It's, it's so true. Like, traditional media equals status more than anything. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is elitist to say. It's like going to a state school versus USC.
No,
you know?
It's just harder, you know, to achieve that. So it's like, wow, these guys are credible. Like, what they're doing actually has, like, it's legit, you know, it just legitimizes you.
And the thing is, that's probably such just a fucked up way to view it, because it's like, and that's how obviously I still view it that, hey, traditional is a gold standard, this and that. Yeah. I never understood for the longest time why creators wanted to get in traditional. But after like being in a creator for a while, it's like, you know, you're a slave to the algorithms, and they can fuck you or make you any second. And, you know, traditional is a bit more sustainable.
Yeah.
But also at the end of the day, with the whole, you know, the traditional thing, right? That's way less democratic than, you know, being a creator, you know, because everyone's bitching about Addison Rae getting some movie. Meanwhile, 10 nepotism kids are on Euphoria, this movie, that and that, right? Like, Addison Rae, I'm sure, is probably that hard working to get there. And again, I don't want to sound like an Addison Rae simp. I don't know the kid. I've only heard that she's very hard working.
Yeah.
But while everyone's so upset that this creator got this record deal or this creator was in this movie.
Yeah, because maybe it's like, oh, they're sellouts.
Yeah.
Or who are they?
But it's more just like, people don't even use the sellout thing anymore. Like, I think that was at the start, and now people
they're comparing like state school versus
they're just like, I can't believe
they're not talented.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's not fair. They have all these followers and there's all these hardworking people, but meanwhile they're completely glossing over how many kids got a job because their dad or their mum made a phone call.
That makes sense. It's like the people that get into Harvard. It's like, yo, like, why are you putting down like affirmative action when in reality there's a lot of like kids who are legacy kids that get into Harvard.
Affirmative action, the least of your worries. It's the people that are donating $100 million and getting a building, you know, that's the reason you're not getting in, not because of affirmative action.
Exactly. Get it together.
Yeah.
So we're like nearing the end, and I just want to say thank you so much.
Yeah,
I mean, we're having fun.
Yeah, we could talk for hours.
I want to talk for hours for this. I love
we'll have to do a part 2. And
like, where are you now? Where is the now? I guess like I want to end. I want to end with of course, like, you guys follow PartyShirt.
Right, check us out.
Check them out.
Whatever.
They're fucking dope. But if you were just to choose like one specific thing in your journey that's helped you get where you are today, be it like a hub, whatever the fuck that is, what is that one thing that you were like, I am so glad I had this very specific like skill or opportunity or network or person that happened in my life that I go, okay, this is what helped me get here today.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say there's like 3 that make one, you know. Persistence. You got to be okay with feeling uncomfortable. And then honestly just believing in yourself. That's really all it comes down to, cuz like you do all those 3 things, I don't know when the time frame is going to be, you know, but it will happen.
Believing in yourself. Jesus Christ.
And that was the thing, like, even like me and X would have fucked up days. Like, we just had like a show where like technical difficulties went wrong, and we were just like, it's okay, dude. Like, they're testing us right now. Like, this is a test to see if we'll quit, you know? It's like, we're not going to quit, you know? Like, and that's how it's always been, you know?
Persistence, just keep on going.
Yeah.
And then, believing in yourself is hard.
Yeah.
But like, that's why do you ever write like affirmations like, I am something, I am this?
We used to manifest like no other. Like, we would write down in our journals. We'd go to sleep to like 8-hour long, like, you know, like audio, like guidance, like manifesting stuff. It was crazy.
Yeah,
like,
we're still big believers, like 30x3 and all that. And like the power of manifesting is incredible, you know?
What about you? What's that one thing or what is that thing that's like you should have or that
sort
like,
of that thing is like you just got to be okay with being cringy, especially for a while, because I think a lot of people's biggest barrier is their friends are going to see it and make fun of it because you're probably right, you know. Especially with TikTok, they show you your friend's video, so you are probably right. Your friends are going to see it, and you're right. They're probably going to make fun of you. You have to be okay with that because like. Think of any video you've ever seen. Imagine if it only had 7 views and 2 comments. You'd be like, ugh. You know, but any video with the right amount of views and comments can be like, it's cool. So I think pushing past that, I think another thing I'd say for the people who, you know, are already on their journey, well into the journey, who are creators who have like become sort of successful and got past that initial thing, I would say is like you always have to be the driver of your own career, you know? And it's so easy to be like, well, I've made it to this stage. Let me put my career in other people's hands who have been doing this for so much longer, who have so much more success, who represent people way bigger than me. Yeah. It's so easy to want to give that off because you're like, I've done the hard work. Let me finally just breathe for a second and do that. You cannot do that.
Yeah.
You just can't. No. You got to just, again, like the whole persistence thing and everything. Well, thanks.
Because even then, too, it's like, you put it in someone else's hands, they're gonna fuck it up. It's never gonna be the same as what you have in your head, you know.
No matter
that is true.
No matter what, like, it might not happen right away, but something will get fucked eventually.
And then at the end of the day, the stakes are way lower for everyone else but you. Because let's just say, I don't even know. Let's just say, you know, you hire an editor or an assistant, you know, your management team, an agent team, whatever. Your career fails. They've got another 20 clients. What the fuck does it matter to them?
That is true.
Right, they're just like, oh, well, that sucks.
And
for you, that's your whole life.
And that's not their baby versus like your baby.
And I understand for them, why should they be... They've got 20 other... They can't be fucking thinking about us 24/7. Like,
and even if they have like even if you give them so much money, at the end of the day, there's just something so different when you're attached to your own
100%,
shit.
Because at the end of the day, we could fire them at any time, and then it's like they don't have equity in the business, you know? It's not like a startup, whatever, right? Like,
and even if they do have equity, they didn't build it. They're not on the face.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know from experience, right? Again, the jealousy and the zealousy.
Yeah. So no, it's totally a different thing. So best of luck to everyone who wants to enter the Hunger Games. Like
the Hunger Games, the
it's
Hunger
like
Creator Games.
It's way easier than a 9 to 5, but it's a different kind of hard.
Yeah.
But it's way. I mean, it's way easier than 9 to 5. I want to make that clear.
Yeah, the freedom.
I'm not
is
trying to
just
be
fabulous.
one of them influencers who are like, oh my god, I don't know how I do this. You know? Like the freedom is second to none.
Yeah, I would never change the freedom for anything
You couldn't,
else.
dude. You could once you've had it. And again, we're in a privileged position. It's very hard to go back because the money thing's one thing, but once you take away freedom, it's like
Yeah. I was working for Stizzy last year, and they made me go in the office for like some stuff, and I was like, I gotta get the fuck.
Yeah, like,
totally.
Like 9 to 5 with the mask on. I was like, oh shit. 'Cause once you experience like waking up sometimes on days, I mean, granted you have to work on the weekends, but you're like, today I just want to just like sit down and just think.
Yeah.
And you can't do that sometimes when you work for a company like that.
Totally. And then just to answering to, I mean, we're answering to people, right? We're answering to 20 million people, you know, but it's like, people with 9 to 5s have to still work weekends, and
Yeah.
like they have even less job security than us. They can get fired at any second.
Yeah, it's an
California's
at will.
at will.
Yeah.
So it's like
And they're not the face of it.
they're not the face of it, and it's like it's not their
But again, like sometimes to me, getting a job that's security. I mean, I hate saying this is kind of like a crutch.
Totally.
Because you're like,
yeah.
oh, I'm not doing it because I need security. So
Right.
I understand
Yeah.
that. So I mean, it's just.
No, it's tough. It's your own
tough.
life.
Change is
It's
tough,
not for
yeah.
everyone, and
But it's fun.
sometimes
It
it's
is.
better being like when I used to be super entrepreneurial, right?
Right.
Everything I would look at, I was like trying to think, how could I rip that off and make it better?
Yeah.
So I never got to really enjoy stuff because
Yeah.
I was always, and I guess that's how like film directors are, right? They can never enjoy a movie without tearing it apart.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's better not to be a creator, always thinking about ideas, and just passively enjoy the content.
Yeah.
It's hard to passively enjoy it when you're a creator because you're always trying to.
You're
think,
always trying to cut it up.
yeah,
Yeah.
and be like, what can I?
Well, I
take
believe in
from
like
this?"
there's two types of people, right? People that consume, which is okay, and they
Yeah.
like to sit back, and then there's the creators where Alexander Hamilton, right? It's like I'm never satisfied. That's the type of mindset that he has.
Yeah.
And so now I'm just trying to figure out like how do you balance with that, especially if you want to get into a relationship. But that's like a whole another thing. Anyway, I'm gonna do like a little. I'm gonna do like my own little. Just like, do you ever do 1 second every day? So it's like this.
Oh no!
1 second every day. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, done.
Wait, what is it? You just did
It's like, so I do a video and then I put it on this app, and then at the very end of the year, what it does is it gives me like 1.5 seconds of that.
And you're gonna
day.
NFT the collection.
You know
right?
what? I should. Well, guys, thank you so much. This was fun.
Thank you so much for
thanks
having
for
us.
having
Hopefully, we're
us.
back one day.
Yeah.